Hi guys, welcome to Didedi's Crafty Corner. Today I wanted to do a comparison on alcohol marker friendly ink. So these are the inks that I happen to have. I've seen a lot of videos in the last month talking about different inks for alcohol markers, and I have a few of these that I like better than others, but you know, I think sometimes you need to pull your stuff out, try it again, reanalyze it, see how it's going to work for you. So I thought we would do that together on this video. So the inks that I'm going to be using are the Hero Arts Intense Black, the My Favorite Things Hybrid ink, the Fawn Jet Black ink, the Memento Tuxedo Black, which has been a staple for a long time, and the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black. So how we're going to do it is we're going to be stamping them out, each one of them. We're going to stamp them out 3 different ways. I'm going to use this little stamp set from Fawn that I just got. We're going to do a lined stamp, and then we're going to brush over it with Copics at the end. We're going to do a solid stamp, and we're going to do a sentiment. Now I know a lot of us don't use these inks for our sentiments, but I thought this is a good way to try try these 3 ways and see how well the blacks perform. So on our solid stamp, we are only going to stamp it once. So we're not going to be using the Misty. I'm just going to stamp it one time and see what it looks like with the solid stamp. So let's go ahead and get some paper, get our stamps mounted up, and get started. Okay, let's get started. All right, so I've got all my inks over here. We're going to be going in this order. So we're going to start off with the Hero Arts. We're going to be doing the solid, the outline, and then the word in each color. So we're going to be going this way up, and that's how we're going to work this, okay? So we're going to start with the Hero Arts Intense Black. Like I said, all of these are Copic friendly. So all of these are supposed to be good with Copics. And the reason for me doing this comparison is just to go back and look at the inks that I have in my drawer and see which one I might want to start using for this new upcoming year. So, and I think this will give me a good idea of which ones to use and maybe where to use them, right? So we're going to start with the solid. Now remember, this is a brand new stamp, never been stamped before, so I think I'm going to use my little scrap paper here and just stamp it off a couple of times just to kind of, you know, get the, make sure that the stamp has been used. All right, now let's go for it. All right, this stamp block that I'm using is by Brutus Monroe. It's the round one. I really, really like this one. I've only purchased one of them, but I do want to get some more. It's my favorite block, actually. All right, so I'm just going to go one time. We're just going to stamp all these out one time. So we're going to go here. And not using a Misty, guys. There's a good chance I'm going to so mess this up. You guys know I don't see well. But this is just a comparison for me, really, and I'm just sharing it with you guys. So that's one stamping, solid color with the Hero Arts Intense Black. I'm not going to cover it up because we're just going to keep going. Now we're going to do the line stamp. And again, because this is a brand new stamp, I'm just going to stamp it off couple of times on paper, just to make sure there's no gunk on the stamp. And then we're going to stamp this in the middle. Probably not straight, but you know, we'll try. And as you guys know, I like to hold my, see, it's not straight. That's not the ink, guys, that's so me. So let's just do it again. Okay, that's better. Okay, and then we're going to do the word, which I don't normally do my Copics, my Copic friendly, I don't normally stamp out with my Copic friendly ink with words, but we're going to today. Okay, so that is the Hero Arts Intense Black. All right, so we're going to set that over here, and then we're going to go on to the My Favorite Things Hybrid Ink Pad. Again, this is Copic friendly. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start off with our black, solid black. And we're going to go in the same spot somewhere roughly. Hold it for a second, lift it up, and then we're going to go to, now keep in mind guys that this, I'm going to try not to move this. I hate this block. That's why it didn't stamp right. I don't do well with this block anytime I've ever used this block. This block and I don't see eye to eye. Okay, and then we're going to do our words. But keep in mind with these solid images that we never ever, just about ever, do we just stamp out a solid image once. We always do it, whether we're using a Stamp-O-Majig or a Misty or something, we usually stamp twice. So keep that in mind. Not all inks ever really give a good impression. A nice, crisp, solid. We've gotten so used to having that with our Misties, haven't we? Okay, and that was My Favorite Things. And again, guys, remember, when I'm doing this, it's for my own. I'm not comparing company to company. I'm comparing what I might want to use going into 2018 to see if I want to switch it up. And I'll tell you at the end the ink that I know, well, if you guys follow me, you already know which ink I normally pull out, but I will tell you at the end and then tell you what I think about the choices that I had made versus what I'm going to do going forward in 2017. 2018. This block is just so much more solid for me. It's kind of like my ink blending tool that I'm so crazy about. I never went back and bought more, but I'm going to. But it's like if one tool works good for you, that's the tool you need to use, right? And when you don't, it's like there's a reason why the other ones don't. They just don't fit well in my hand with me, that's all. Okay, let's do our line. Did I tell you guys what we're using this time? Or did I talk right through it? This is the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black. And then we're also going to do that with our sentiment. And how cute is that sentiment? By the way the H didn't show up, that's not the ink's fault, that's my fault. As you guys know, the further I get away from right here, my hand, the further I can't see. And I'm trying not to move the stamp around too much because I'm wanting, you know, I'm wanting it to be an accurate kind of sample for myself here. But I can tell by how the ink looks and not by how I stamped. I know I'm a bad stamper. That's why I use a Misty. Okay, let's go back. I'm sorry, guys. This one is the Lawn Fawn Jet Black. And again, that is a alcohol-friendly ink. And if you're ever not sure, read the back. And then if you're still not sure, YouTube it. Well, I say YouTube it, but you could Google it too, you know. Look it up is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's do the line. Again, this is in the Lawn Fawn. I wish I was one of those people that could do a perfect stamping every single time with the block. You see those people on YouTube, don't you? They just take their ink right to the pad, they stamp down one time, just like that. They pull up quick, and voila, perfect. That's so not what happens when I do that, as you can see. So again, the H didn't show up on here, but that's not the stamp's fault, that's my fault, because it's too far. As you can see, the ink is still on the H. I just didn't press down right there hard enough. And that's not what this is. This video is not about how well the stamp does or how well I can stamp. It's about the ink and the coverage. That's all I'm looking for. Which one's really blackest? Which one do I think I want to use coming up in the new year? And just to kind of look at them side by side, because I've never done that before. All right, so now we're going to use the Memento. This is probably the ink that we've all used the most of over the years. I know it's the ink I started out with. It's still to this day the ink I grab for sometimes, even though I don't use it as often as I used to. It's tried and true, for sure. And I've never gotten rid of it, so you know it works okay. I might got a little something right on that heart right there. All right, let's do our outline. It's very interesting, huh? So far, very interesting. And let's do our sentiment. This time I'm going to try to press down where the H is on the top of the H. I'll try to be good. I'll try to be good this time. Okay, now let's take a look at it. I'm going to set all these aside. I put the tape there just so I wouldn't move this out of the way, guys. And let's take a closer look. Okay. So there's a closer look. Let's look at the bottom line. I would have to say the two blackest ones, well, three. The three that are the blackest are, believe it or not, the Memento, Tuxedo Black, the Hero Arts, and the Simon Says. Those three are actually the blackest. On the lines, this one doesn't count because I messed it up. On the lines, they all did a great job. See, when you're doing, this one's a little darker though. When you're doing the lines, it's see, they're all pretty much the same. I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but let's look at the sentiments. So like I said, the top of the H doesn't count because that's me. I think that Hero Arts did a fantastic job on this, on sentiments, as well as the heart, as well as the line. So that did good all the way across. No problem. This one was in My Favorite Things, and this, by the way, My Favorite Things, this is the one I grabbed for. This is my preference up till now. So this has been my preference, the My Favorite Things. And I'll tell you why it's not the Simon Says stamp when we get to Simon Says stamp. So it did very good with the sentiment. It's not as dark. You may not be able to see that on camera, but it's definitely not as dark as this one. But it did a very good job. It's crisp. It's thin enough to read. It didn't oversaturate the paper. It didn't bleed out at all. The lined art is perfect. And it has just a little bit of white showing, just as this one does. This has less white. But I think that's absolutely normal when you're doing one stamping. I really think so. Okay, this is the Simon Says stamp. Now, here's the reason I don't go for the Simon Says stamp. I love this ink, but it takes a minute or two to dry. And I'm not patient. So I end up going right in with my Copics and smearing it. So it really takes a second or two to dry. And this is the Simon Says ink. And as you can see, that did great as well. The line did great. And the words look great. I would have to say this is almost as black as this one, to be honest. This one was the Lawn Fawn. The Lawn Fawn ink actually was a little whiter up here. The line ink is fine. And the happy, the words, the sentiment is a little thicker. The ink's a little bit thicker, so it doesn't come out quite as crisp. The same thing with the Memento, which is why it's super black. I love the Memento ink. but it comes out thicker when you use it, unless your pad is really dry. It comes out thicker. So again, with the heart, the lined heart, it's fine, but it did the best job on covering down here, absolutely. So now let's go ahead and use our Copics, color through it, see if anything bleeds. And I think I just might go back to Memento for a little while, guys. That's what I'm thinking. All right, let's see. I chose a RV14 just to make sure. I'm going to start in the same order we did it. And I'm just going to color right next to the line. See if we pick up any black. And we do not. Okay, same thing over here. I'm going to go out just a little bit because I want to make sure I'm touching that black line. And no, we're not picking up any black. Going to go the same here. And there's no black. Go over a little bit. No black. And no black. And let's just go over here too, just to see. Let's go out, pull out. Aha, you can see just a little bit of black right there. I'm going to bring it up and see if you can see it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera. All right, let me show you. All right, so here is the Hero Arts. And you can see here, there's no black showing around the line. This one, there's no black. There's no black here. There's no black there. And here we come to the assignment, and I'm going to see if you... Can you see the little dark shadow in the middle right there where the black right here from the edge went up? That's my problem with this ink. Is that sometimes on some of the images, the black will come up. This, you really need to heat set this ink, in my opinion. For me, anyway. I know other people don't have that problem. This one had no black. This is no black. This one's no black. And this one's no black. So they all do great. But this one, especially because we put so much ink down here, this really takes a couple of minutes to dry. It reminds me a lot. And it is a... isn't it a hybrid? It's premium ink. It's not a hybrid, is it? It's my favorite things. It's a hybrid. It kind of reminds me of the one that we used to stamp our sentiments on, in a way, because it's, even though it smears, that ink stays a little bit wetter. This one does as well. It just stays a little bit wetter. But you can also kind of see which one, because you can see the pink through here. You can see a little pink in here. You can see a little pink in here. If it hadn't been for the white line, you wouldn't see any pink, and you don't see any pink here. So definitely the Hero's Art is the blackest. There's no doubt about that. But they all perform wonderful. So I'm going to keep them all, and I'll use them all. Definitely would double stamp my my solid images, though, as I normally do. And I really prefer to just if I stamp this one overnight and go to it the next day, it's fine. But I really think you should heat set this one. This one tends to be the one that gives me the most problems. But that's just me. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's given me something to look back at, and I'm going to pull this one out and use this one for the beginning of the year and see how I like it. So, see? It's good to pull your stuff out, take another look at it, and see what you think. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.